The Honkai Star Rail Anniversary Special Program brought us both good and bad news about what's coming next. We already talked about the bad news last night, which is confirmation that Global Passive will make it to the live version. Now, for the good news, that was the only bad news. The rest of the program was packed with announcements of in-game and real-life events to celebrate the anniversary. More freebies are coming, which is expected for an occasion like this. But more importantly, two of my personal wishes mentioned in this video came true. I wanted a 5-star selector for this anniversary and an announcement for old unit buffs. And Hoyoverse actually delivered. Well, the 5-star selector isn't exactly a selector, but close enough, I guess. In version 3.2, they're introducing a new currency called Companion Spirit, which can be used to exchange for 5-star characters in the shop. It's basically a cheaper version of the USO system in Fate Grand Order. Normally, this would be a feature for whales or unlucky players who keep getting spooked by Chi-Chi like me. However, for the anniversary, we're getting Golden Companion Spirits for free. To sweeten the deal, aside from the current 5-star characters lineup, Ruin Mei and Luocha will be added to the shop. Ruin Mei is an amazing support, especially for break teams. Even if you already own her, getting her E1 is worth it. Luocha, on the other hand, is a solid healer, once considered the best sustain and several times better than Chi-Chi. I haven't decided which character to select. My Ruin Mei is already E1, so I won't choose her. But I also don't feel the urgency to get Luocha, as I already have plenty of healers on my account. If the free Golden Companion Spirit doesn't have an expiration date, I might save it in case they add more characters in the future. Now let's move on to the next good news, the old units buff. But before that, let's take a look at our sponsor. In this day and age where gacha games are trying to take over our wallets and the temptation to spend money on a PNG waifu has become more and more irresistible, we need the best deal we could possibly find if we don't want to end up eating grass for the rest of the month. Instead of purchasing the premium currency at full price from the in-game shop, why not try a third-party one, like LD Shop? Brought to you by LD Player, the emulator that used to sponsor my videos back in my FGO days. LD Shop offers discounted top-ups for Honkai Star Rail starting from 11% off, letting you get more jades for your money. The transactions are 100% secure, as they do not require account credentials. You can top up just by filling in the server and the game UID only, then wait for your purchase to be delivered within 5 minutes. Use my link in the description to register and get a general 10% off coupon and a special 5% off coupon, which can save up to $50. Special offers for you dolphins, spending over $80 a month will grant you a VIP membership, which comes with several benefits such as a free monthly pass and exclusive weekly and monthly coupons. When this buff was first announced, I was hoping it would arrive in the anniversary patch. But version 3.4 is fine too, since that's the version rumored to feature the Fate collab. It might also mark the end of Part 1 of the Amphoria story quest, making it a solid intermezzo patch before we move on to Part 2. The first 4 characters scheduled to receive buffs are Jingliu, Blade, Kafka, and Silverwolf. I couldn't be happier with this selection, because I own 3 of them. Back when I was focused on 4-star only showcases, I wasn't completely avoiding 5 stars. Besides inevitable results like hitting soft pity while rolling for 4-star copies, I intentionally pulled certain 5 stars as a safety net, just in case I'd ever need to use them. I mean, playing with only 4-star characters was a lot of handicap. As the game progressed and the difficulty increased, I might run into trouble and need help from a 5-star. These 3 characters were my picks. Since I primarily played Break Team, I chose characters that benefited that archetype. Silverwolf was originally a cheat code for Break Team. Unfortunately, after the release of better supports like Ruin Mei and Harmony MC, plus the introduction of Break DPS that ignore elemental weaknesses, she completely lost her place and is not even worth considering anymore. As a generalist, she also falls behind because the meta favors AoE as opposed to her single target nature. Even Pella is in a better spot right now. To make matters worse, Anaxa, who's coming in version 3.2, is seen as the better version of Silverwolf due to their similarity in implanting elemental weaknesses. So yeah, Silverwolf desperately needs a buff. Here's what I'd like to see. turn her skill and ultimate into AoE, and add a vulnerability debuff to her ultimate. Realistically speaking, Ruin Mei and Fuji are irreplaceable in Break Team, so Silverwolf's strengthening should focus on making her competitive as a generalist. I don't know if Hoyoverse will go as far as changing her traces, but if they do, I hope they remove the attack percent and quantum damage traces and replace them with something more useful like speed and break effect. Other than that, I'm fine with her overall kit. Kafka is in a similar situation. Before Ruin Mei, she functioned as a break support thanks to her ability to trigger weakness break DOT. She was primarily paired with wind and physical break characters, since they had the highest break DOT scaling. That's why I find the decision to buff Kafka a bit odd. To me, she isn't a standalone DPS, but an enabler. Her strength increases or decreases depending on the strength of the units she enables. For example, she truly shined when Black Swan was introduced. At the time, Black Swan was incredibly strong, and Kafka's ability to trigger Black Swan's DOT made her even better. But once Black Swan started getting power crept, Kafka's value also dropped alongside her. Therefore, if you ask me, the optimum way to make Kafka relevant again is to buff Black Swan. But fine, if Kafka herself is getting buffed, then I'll pick her skill to get reworked. Right now, even though her skill is a blast attack, it only triggers DOT on the main target, and even then, at only 80% of its original damage. I would like to see it reworked into allow the skill to trigger DOT on both the main target and adjacent enemies, and increase the multiplier to 100%. This would essentially turn her skill into a mini version of her ultimate, making it more impactful and consistent. Beyond that, I don't see any other part of her kit that really needs a buff, because once again, she is an enabler. I don't have Blade, so I'll skip his part. I'm not that familiar with his gameplay anyway. Now, moving on to the last character getting buffed in version 3.4, Jingliu. Jingliu was supposed to be my Joker, a trump card I'd only use if things went really, really south with my account. She was insanely strong, cleared every piece of content with ease, and had an incredible aesthetic. Being a Chinese character with a lot of fans, I never imagined she'd get power crept that fast. I genuinely thought she'd stay relevant for at least 2 years. That's why I pulled her and kept her as my emergency backup. Turned out, before she even got the chance to shine, she was already 6 feet under. She fell off the meta hard, and people started making fun of her. So, when Hoyoverse announced their plan to buff old units, I immediately dusted off my Jingliu, who had been stuck at level 20 for almost 2 years. I had a strong feeling that she'd be one of the chosen characters. And I was right. For the first time, I brought her into battle. And you know what? I think her mechanics are fine. I mainly use her with Sunday and this combo, the attack frequency and skill point economy. She actually holds up well by today's standards. The main issue with Jingliu is her damage output, which is entirely because of her low base multipliers. She has plenty of self-buffs, but since her base multipliers are weak, her damage ceiling is stunted. I think she'd be competitive again if they simply quadrupled her base multipliers. Another way to buff her is by increasing her maximum syzygy stacks to 4 and making her ultimate generate 2 syzygy stacks instead of 1. They could also rework her Death Realm trace to further boost her damage, maybe by making Moon on Glacial River apply ice vulnerability to enemies upon hit. So that's my wish list for buffs these characters should receive. Do you have any other ideas to help them catch up to the current meta? Let me know in the comments below.